Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kancha Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kancha Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari 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 Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prachajanaranjana Sodanandana Jaya Prachajanaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prachajanaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Prachajanaranjana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. No, I have mine. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone say welcome for the evening Bhagavad Gita class. This evening we're going to speak on a pastime of Krishna, continuing with the series of classes. From Kartik evening, I've been asked to step in. There's one devotee, Antaranga, who was meant to give class, but he asked me to step in, so I'm here. So over the series of the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about different pastimes of Krishna and how we're going through the sequence of Krishna's life. So we're coming now to another demon that Krishna liberated, called the Vidyadhara demon. This is from Krishna book, chapter 34. So we'll be going through a summary of that and some of the lessons we can learn from this pastime. But before we start, we'll say a few prayers just to invoke auspiciousness. So if you know them, you're welcome to join in. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivirshesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So thank you for coming. How many of you have been for previous evening's talks? Just so I know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You as well? Okay, good. So yeah, for those of you who haven't been before, during the Kartik month we've been going through a series of pastimes of Krishna, or the story of Krishna's life, focusing on different aspects. So we're coming towards Later on in Krishna's pastimes, this is a demon that he liberates, or a killing of a demon. And there's some lessons we can learn from this pastime. So we're going to go through the story and then look at the lessons behind it. So actually starts in Vrindavan with Krishna and the cowherd village. And him and his family actually decide to go and worship Lord Shiva. So they go for Shiva Ratri, and they decide to travel to the banks of the Saraswati river. So the whole cowherd village, they pack for a few days and they go on a pilgrimage to the Saraswati river with Krishna and the whole family, and they go to perform Shiva Puja, or worship of Lord Shiva, on the bank of the Saraswati. This isn't a regular thing that they do. This was just a one-off. They had an interest to see what it was like, but they didn't regularly worship the demigods. But they still offered respect. And so those of you who maybe grew up in a culture of worshipping the demigods, worshipping Shiva, Brahma, different demigods, Krishna also worshipped the demigods, but in the right mood. So we also need to understand the position, and that's what the Shastras talk about, is the position of Krishnastu, Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original, and everything else is expansions of Krishna. The demigods are expansions from Krishna, empowered representatives. Just like in the government, you have a prime minister, and you have the government and the empowered representatives who can act on behalf of the government, of the prime minister. So in the same way, the demigods are like empowered representatives. So when we have that understanding, then it's okay to worship them or not for respect, because they're also Vaishnavas. Like Lord Shiva has said, Vaishnava Yatha Shambhu, he's the greatest Vaishnava. Actually, he's the greatest devotee of Krishna. And so devotees offer respect to Lord Shiva because he's a Vaishnava. A bit higher. Maybe if I bring it closer, that might... Volume up, huh? I'm too quiet. Okay. I think it's okay. I'll bring it a bit closer. Okay, you can hear me? Loud and clear? Yeah? Okay. Good. Okay, so better? Great. So like we were saying, Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava, and as devotees we can offer respects to him in that sense that he can actually help us in our spiritual path to Krishna. Of course, it's not necessary. Just worshipping Krishna is like watering the root of a tree. You worship everyone else at the same time. But if we feel the need or feel the desire, or we grow up in that culture, then worshipping Shiva is, in the right mood, is perfectly fine. So Krishna showed this by his own example, and he actually went with his whole family and worshipped Lord Shiva on the bank of the Saraswati river. And so they worshipped deities there. They fasted for the day. They worshipped the deities of Shiva, and then they gave charity to the brahmanas. So we're reading here from Krishna book. This is for those of you who don't know, this is a book written by Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya. It's a book of all the stories of Krishna's life. So we're reading from Krishna book, and Prabhupada comments on each. Actually, from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has summarized it into a story format. So we're reading from there. And so they gave charity to the brahmanas, Krishna and his family. And Prabhupada comments that real brahmanas actually don't have a job or occupation. A brahmana is someone who's living their life fully dedicated to the service of Krishna, or someone who lives they don't have a job, they don't have a mundane occupation, but they're actually just living off the welfare of others. But in return, they dedicate their whole lives to helping other people, to sharing spiritual knowledge, to dedicating their life basically to helping society. So in that way, there's a section of society, the brahmanas, which don't work, but their work is to help other people. In return, they're supported, so they're given charity. And Prabhupada comments that we should be careful who we are giving charity to. Are we giving charity to the right sources, to someone where it's actually going to be used, it's going to be helpful? So giving charity to the brahmana, a real brahmana, or someone who's dedicating their lives to helping, is the best way to give charity, because you know it's going to be used for the welfare of all. Other sources of charity are harder to see whether the money is actually being used. And so they were camping there on the banks of the river, and whilst they were camping at night, in the forest there was a giant serpent. His name was Vidyadhar, and a huge serpent, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to guess, but he was big enough to eat a man, big enough to swallow a man, so it was a huge serpent. And he came out of the forest, and he caught hold of Nanda Maharaj. Who knows who Nanda Maharaj is? You know who Nanda Maharaj is? Yeah, Krishna's father, you're right. So Krishna's father is Nanda Maharaj, and he was caught by this snake, this serpent. He caught hold of Nanda Maharaj in his mouth, and he wouldn't let go. The Nanda Maharaj started to cry out for help, of course, and the other cowherd men, they grabbed sticks from the fire, burning sticks, and they started to beat the snake with sticks to try and release Nanda Maharaj. But the snake was very tough, and he didn't release Nanda Maharaj. And so Nanda Maharaj was actually calling out for Krishna, which is interesting because Krishna is his son, small boy, but he obviously understood. So he was calling out for Krishna. Krishna came, and he simply touched the snake with his foot. Just touched the side of the snake with his foot, and the snake actually transformed. He gave up its snake body, and out of the snake came this beautiful demigod, this beautiful, extremely beautiful man came out, this deva or demigod, just from the touch of Krishna's foot. And Krishna asked this personality that appeared, he said, how come you became a snake? You seem like a great demigod. How come you became a snake? What's the story behind this? So then the demigod starts to relate his story. He starts to tell how he ended up in the body of a snake. So he said that in my past life I was called Vidyadhar. I was a great demigod, a very powerful demigod, and he was very, very beautiful, very physically beautiful, and he was actually proud of that beauty. He became proud, and what happened was a sage came past, an old sage, and he was very ugly, very old and ugly. And so Vidyadhar just laughed in mock at this sage, and because of his pride, of his beauty, he laughed at this old sage, and the sage became angry. Not angry out of an egoistic way, but in a way to help this person become humble. And so he cursed him. He cursed him to become a snake, because you're proud and you're envious, and snakes represent that. And so he cursed him. Okay, so you should try to become humble and and take on the form of a snake. So this is the first lesson from the story, is that we shouldn't be proud of what we have. People have different things. Some people are beautiful, some people have wealth, some people have position. But they say pride comes before the fall, right? Famous saying. We should never be proud for what we've been given, because ultimately it's been given, it's not ours in the first place. There's another beautiful quote about pride. It says that pride will always be the longest distance between two people. Makes sense? Pride will be the longest distance between two people, in the sense that when we're proud, then you can never have a real relationship, because it strips you of your good qualities, and it stops you building any kind of relationship, because you're proud of what you have, and you can't. Humility is the requirement for a good relationship, to be able to serve someone else. And when you're proud, you can't do that. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. You're having an argument with someone, and then halfway through you realize, actually I'm wrong. But then you carry on arguing anyway, just because you can't. I just can't lose. I just can't. That's the pride that we have. Who's done that? I know I've done that. In the past. We've all done it, because that's pride. It's pride. Even though we know we're wrong, even though we know we're wrong, still because of our pride we can't let go. We can't admit that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. So we carry on. and that's pride. And there's different types of pride. This demon was proud and he paid the price. This was an egotistic pride, but there's also different pride. The negative kind of pride is when we look down on others, when we put ourselves above others. But there's also a positive side to pride. Anyone can think of a way which you can be proud in a positive way? Yes, Ruben.
In a way, self-sacrifice, selfless,
Mm-hmm.
privilege that what we have achieved
Mm-hmm.
and what we can give back.
Yeah, nice. Nice point. Anyone else? Yes. Principles. Yeah. Proud of strong principles. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Yes? Very nice. Yeah. We're proud that we are in a position to help others. Yeah. Yeah, so these are some of the positive sides of pride. We can be proud of who we're serving, right? If we're Vaishnavas, we're trying to be servants of Krishna. So in that sense, we can also be proud that Krishna's our master and we're his servants, and he can do anything. He can use me to do anything. He can empower me to do anything. And in that way, pride can be used in a positive way. But this demigod, he was proud in an egotistic way, that he looked down on someone else. He looked down on this sage. And so, yeah, he was cursed. And then he began to introspect. And he actually thought, okay, maybe this curse is a blessing, actually, a blessing in disguise. And when Krishna liberated him, or he came out of this body, he realized that this was a great blessing from the sage. That he's been humbled, and through that humility he got to see Krishna. Through that humility he got to make advancement in his spiritual life. And this is the second lesson we learn from this pastime, is that the devotees or the saintly people are always doing what's best for us. Krishna is always doing what's best for us, but maybe we don't see it right away. Right, so this demigod was just cursed to become a snake. So externally that sounds pretty negative, right? And similarly in our lives we also might have something negative come across, but later on he saw how that this was actually the greatest blessing, because he became humble and he could see Krishna. So actually, also in our lives we have to try and have that longer term vision when bad things come, or even if devotees or saintly people say something bad about us or correct us in certain ways, it might be difficult for us to take. I don't know if you've ever had something come up in your life and you say, "Oh, Krishna, why did you do this to me? God, why are you so cruel? Why are you doing this to me?" Many people, you hear that a lot, right? Why is God so cruel? Why is he so unkind? Why is he doing this in my life? Why is he taking this away? But developing that longer term vision, later on we see, actually in retrospect, later on we see the good that came out of it. Any of you experienced that? At a later time you see, when you look in retrospect, that actually something positive came out of that negative situation. They say that to make a diamond, it takes a lot of pressure, right? So diamonds are formed under really intense pressure, and then something beautiful comes out. So same in our lives, sometimes out of the greatest stresses, out of the greatest pressures and most negative things, then something beautiful come up. You had a question?
If you want to make a diamond, you have to find a diamond.
You have to find a diamond. Yeah.
Make a diamond.
To make a diamond is made inside the earth, actually, as in the core of the earth. And when rocks are put under great pressure over a long, long time, and then they kind of condense and they become a beautiful diamond. Yeah, that won't work. It takes a long, long time. So same in our lives. It takes a long, long time to see the good out of a negative situation. Yeah. Yeah. Good things take time. Yeah, and Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, "Matra sparshas tu kanteya, situsna sukadukata agamayat payano nityas tam stitikshasva bharata." That these happiness and distresses that will come and go, like the seasons come and go, but remaining steady in these, and through that steadiness you'll actually see the good that will come out of it. So in the final part of this story, Vidyadhar begins to offer prayers to Krishna. He sees, actually this is a great blessing. I've become humble and now I can see you. I can see the Lord. And he begins to offer prayers to Krishna. And he asks Krishna, actually I want to return to the heavenly planets. He was from the heavenly planets. So he asked Krishna, can I return back to the heavenly planets? He asked for permission. He didn't ask to go back to Godhead. He didn't ask for the pure devotional service, but he asked for something material again. So he was still kind of attached to his material situation, to the opulence of being a deva, a demigod. He could have asked, Krishna was right there, he could have asked for pure devotional service. He could have asked to go back to the spiritual world, but he didn't. And Prabhupada gives an interesting comment on this section. He talks about that no matter what you want, we should approach Krishna, even if it's something material. Prabhupada said that this demigod, he was attached to something material, but he approached Krishna, so at least he went the right way about it. So even for us, if we're still attached to material situations or material things, we should approach Krishna. There's no need to go elsewhere, because Krishna is the source. Of course, we know it's best that we approach Krishna only for spiritual things, for loving devotional service and returning back to the spiritual world. But if we're still attached to certain things, then we should still approach Krishna, either way. Yeah, Krishna says at the end of the Gita, Sarva dharman prityaja mamikam sharanam vraja ham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. So he says that surrender, actually, this is the greatest thing that we should pray for. Just surrender unto me and give up all of these other types of religion, these other desires. So this is the best prayer to make to Krishna. But if we're still, Prabhupada says, if we still want other things, then fine, but at least approach Krishna. So this was some thoughts I had on this, or some comments that Prabhupada made on this pastime of the snake, Vidyadhar. You had a question? I was going to ask everyone for questions, but you've already started.
Is the story still going?
Is this a real story?
Is it still going?
Is it still going? Good question. Very good question. Yes, Krishna's pastimes continually happen. Right? So it said like a sun rises and sets. You know, you watch the sun rise and set?
Yeah, just like a book.
Yeah? So you watch the sun rise and set. So in the same way, Krishna's pastimes are rising and setting. Now when the sun sets, is the sun still there? Or does it disappear?
It goes into that.
But it's still there, right? We just can't see it.
It's just in space.
Yeah. Yeah.
It comes down and
You're right. So it's still there, but we can't see it. So it's the same with Krishna's pastimes. Krishna comes onto the earth at a certain time, and he displays these stories, and they're real, they happen. And then at some point we can't see it anymore with our vision, but it's still going on somewhere else. So it happens in different universes. There's many different universes in the material creation, not just one universe. There's hundreds and millions of universes. Infinity, almost. And in each universe Krishna goes and he performs these same things, but in slightly different ways in different universes. So they're happening eternally. It's called Nitya Lila, eternal pastimes. Good question. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions to ask? You have a question. Go for it. What are diamonds made of? We've really got everyone really got into the diamond analogy. Huh? Diamonds are rocks condensed. But we were using that as an example to talk about how sometimes in our lives we go through stresses, we go through pressures, we go through negative things, but often something good will come out of it. So that's why we use the analogy of a diamond. But we won't get into a whole class on geometry and geography right now. Yes, Madhu, you have a question?
Sorry, thanks very much for your lecture.
Okay.
Very interesting. I don't know if it's the right place to ask this question. Why do we offer lights during the month of Kartik?
What's the significance of offering lamp?
It's to do with Krishna's pastime.
Yes, yeah. So Diwali has, well, not just Diwali, but during Kartik, there's a number of reasons why we offer lamps. There's many. I could share with you after the different scriptural references as to why we offer candles. There's many benefits, but the candle represents the flame of our life. This is one way to look at it. There's many approaches you could take, but one way is that we're offering the flame of our life. So it's an offering of surrender. We're offering the flame of our life to Krishna. So it's an act of surrender. It's also in relation to Lord Ram's pastime of him coming home after killing Ravana and spreading light and bringing back the light of. But yeah, at least that's my meditation when I'm offering the candle, is that this is an offering of surrender. I'm offering the lamp of my life, or the light of my life, as an offering to you and service to you. So that's my but everyone has their own, and there's different ways to approach it. But that's my. Yes, you have a question? Whereas I can repeat for those online.
This question is regarding when you mentioned Lord Shiva and that you should rather seek guidance in Krishna as opposed to asking Lord Shiva. So is it that he can only grant material things? And also, in addition to that, I find it interesting that in this story in particular, they're worshipping Lord Shiva who has a snake around his neck,
Mm-hmm.
and they are attacked by another snake. So do you think there's some...
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but maybe there's an yeah. But I'll just answer your first question first, if that's okay. So, Lord Shiva, does he just grant material things, or that was the question, right? Does he just grant material things, or does he? Why did they worship him? Yeah. So basically, Lord Shiva is a demigod, so he's coming. Krishna is the source. They say Shiva is like yogurt. Krishna is like milk, and Shiva is like yogurt. So he's kind of, yogurt is also milk, but it's not. It's slightly different. So Shiva Tattva is quite complicated. That would require a whole seminar, and I'm not qualified to give that, but you could look at one online. But basically the essence is they're similar, but that he's not the Lord, but he's a demigod. And we approach demigods, generally people approach demigods for material things. But like I was saying in the beginning, is that if we have the right vision, that actually he's a Vaishnava, he's a servant of Krishna, and actually Shiva accepts the water that washes Lord Varaha's toe. Lord Varaha pierced a hole in the edge of the universe. This is where the Ganges comes from. The Ganges comes into the material world through this hole that Lord Varaha poked in the universe, and so the water is washing the Lord's toe, and Lord Shiva accepts it on his head. To disperse it into the material world. So he's accepting this Chanamrit, this water that's bathed the foot of the Lord, which only a servant would do. Right? So he's a Vaishnava, Vaishnava Yata Shambhu. So if we approach him in that way, that he's a great devotee, just like we approach other great gurus, devotees, we approach them to help us advance spiritually, to help us advance in our love for Krishna. So if we approach Shiva in that sense, that you're a great devotee, please help me to love Krishna more, then that's completely fine. And Prabhupada talks about that in this section, that the Brajbasis, or the Krishna's family, they were worshipping Krishna because it helped them love Krishna more. The whole pastime helped them love Krishna more. But if we go to Lord Shiva thinking that he's God, or we're asking for something material, then that's worship in the wrong way, if that makes sense. And about the connection of your second question, I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Hare Krishna. Okay, we're 2 minutes before Damodarashtaka comes, so I think we can end there. If everyone can move forward, we'll sing the Damodarashtaka, and you can stand up for the curtains to open. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
next one. They cancel. Yeah, they'll visit.
Shishi Radha Gokulananda ki, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shishi Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Namam Ishvaram Sachit Anandadupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana Sachit Anandadupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana Yashoda Biokaladhavamanam Param Dristamatyanta Todrita Gopya Yasoda Biokaladhavamanam Param Dristamatyanta Todrita Gopya Yasoda Rudantam Muhurnetra Yukman Mrijantam Kadamboja Yukmena Swasakampati Ekankakanta Sita Grivam Damodaram Bhaktivedanta Sita Grivam Damodaram Bhaktivedanta Svalila Virananda Kunde Vagosham Nimajantam Bhakyapayantam Kadiye Sita Bhakte Jitatam Una Prema Tastam Sada Vriti Vande Param Deva Moksham Na Moksha Varimba Chanyam Vineham Vari Sadapiha Idam Deva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Virastam Kimanye Idam Te Mukam Bojam Yantanilay Tam Kuntalay Snigdharaktais Jagopya Chumbitam Bimbaktadaram Me Manasya Virastam Alam Akshalam Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Sida Prabhu Dukha Janabdi Magam Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Sida Prabhu Dukha Janabdi Magam Vipajristi Vritsyati Dinam Vatanu Vihane Samamakyam Vidyakshi Drisya Paramutevayata Ayamochito Bhakti Vajopitoja Hatha Prema Bhaktim Swakam Me Prayacha Namokshe Graho Me Si Damodareha Namaste Sudamne Spuratipti Damne Adiyorayata Vishwasya Damne Namaste Sudamne Spuratipti Damne Adiyorayata Vishwasya Damne Namaste Sudamne Spuratipti Damne Adiyorayata Namo Radhikaya Tadiyai Priyaya Namo Nantanilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Tadiyai Priyaya Namo Nantanilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Tadiyai Priyaya Namo Nantanilaya Devaya Tubhyam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Yasoda Damodara. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his 2 lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the neck of pearls around his neck, which is marked with the 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence, that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy, and is free from all conception of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar, hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benediction, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan may be ever manifest in my heart. What is the use of any other boon besides this? O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances to you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool, who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows, and become visible to my eyes. O Lord Damodar, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalikuvera, were delivered from the curse of Narad, made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with a rope to a wooden grinding mortar, in the same way please give me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this, and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord who displays unlimited pastimes. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ki.
Hare Krishna. Louder, louder. Hare Krishna. So all of you should be know that this is a month called Kartik month, and all of you are very fortunate here to being attending the evening arting and the Damodarashtaka prayer. So how you are fortunate? Because a lot of people are going just nearby here, M1 and a lot of another traffic, but they can't come here because of the unfortunate. So but you are fortunate. So this month, whatever bhakti you do, whatever devotional service you do, it's multiplied by 1,000 times. So you should know, if you chant 1 time Hare Krishna, that means it will be multiplied 1,000 times. So louder, raise your hand. अपने हाथ ऊपर करिए. भगवान ने जिसको हाथ दिया, raise your hand. You got a hand, then Krishna. This is like we are surrendering to Krishna, right? When we in a battlefield or in any war, when they defeated, they say hands up, right? So we are defeated by Maya. Louder, sing. Be behind me. Follow me. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Now louder from your core of your heart. Krishna knows how much louder you are singing. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan ki. सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, गौर निताई की, शिल प्रभुपाद की, लाडो श्री वृंदावन धाम की, नवदीप मायापुर धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, अयोध्या धाम की, अयोध्यापति रामचंद्र भगवान की, गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, तुलसी देवी की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, Lord, by His mercy you are here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol. So 5 more minutes, we're going to sing the Nashinga prayer, and after you can go and have a prasad. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Nandra ki, Prabhupada ki, Radha Gopala Nand ki.
That's your.
So it's now looking at what's next.
Stuff like that.
One thing I mean, two competitions. We have to call it women's but looking at potentialism and looking how this moves ahead to say whether it's potentialism in gender.
I mean, honestly, I actually really thought that you were no one has ever Hindi. And all of a sudden they have Hindi there. So CHS or people connected to how to search for that.
The thing is,
I don't know.
to launch it, we need funding. I mean, we work together. It's just funding.
Was the think tank itself? But if you got funding, then that's a good goal.
Yeah,
Our family.
yeah. I think it will come.
That's my struggle. I don't care. Not that it's not important. I just don't care enough to like make money for something. I need enough to like get by. Like I just think when it's our time to throw, it's like what are we gonna do? Still pushing that at the So I guess because we're Gaudiya vein, like which is a much smaller piece of Hinduism person, so their funding may be a little more larger.
Well, I think also they have much more interest in
Scholarly.
and also just how engaging with people much more in their religious life.
Right.
And what Christians and chaplains,
Right.
chaplains in school, university, what they find majestic is connect with those communities.
Yeah.
And so I think there's an actually, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to LSC because they have the LSC. It's a panel event, and they want you to speak on Hinduism's position on justice. So, they're going to have like but they're interesting topics.
That is fascinating.
And that's kind of, I think, the level that we should engage.
100%.
But we don't really have any well-researched, material.
On justice or just on anything.
How it relates to
Right. But because we don't have, I mean, we have, like, there's such little investment in true education. Like, you were one, I mean, I think, I don't know whether you liked your experience in this process. Is that what you think people should be engaged in at?
I'm not sure. I think it's forever.
Oh, it's definitely not.
Thank you for doing the kind.
And again, the work and I think that work needs to go on as well. But I think we need to address potential issues, right?
But don't you think it takes,
Like,
like, do you think people in our society at the moment are equipped to way to think and engage?
No. So you would have to have some way in there.
So you're looking at maybe next year,
Yeah,
what kind of
yeah, it's sad. I just looked into the doctors.
what did they say?
It's getting better.
But you should not lift weight. So when so tell me when he is lift weight, and what he told me was in 2 weeks' time he's ready. I said no, I speak to your son. I told him I don't trust him.
It's missing service.
I know, but let me know, yeah. Till then I won't let him know.
Mother's ready.
And now they will together. They can't do it without
Keep
it.
it slow.
Yeah, it will stay. That will stay.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's fine. It's yet to be about 10 days ago, we were meant to be India to go and love and we had this freak accident.
No fun. So many things.
Yeah.
Make him the chaplain.
Well, I don't think the chaplains, but I do think there should be a way to
Who should think about that, right? My experience is something that's kind of sort of deep innovation beyond education and actually engage in any topic that is like completely sanctified by Prabhupada. This is a circumstance when we spoke about it, but that's what he means by everything. It's like, oh, now OCHS may be too rigorous a thing, but there seems to be nothing in between that I've found.
Yeah,
I can actually have a conversation in a thoughtful way with someone.
Yeah, and a lot of our responses are quite shallow as well. We do have a response and
I mean, it's not communication.
like which is fine, I mean, that's there, and that has to be taken into
I mean, I celebrate the fact that they're chasing more Brahma. I think that's like badass. You got a problem with the napkin? You get chased.
but I think today's science requires it.
Much.
And I think outside the world take this more seriously.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the thing is, we actually have wise things to say about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I actually pause and talk to wise people, there's like, oh, that's a very measured answer.